All truth passes through three stages. First, it is ridiculed. Second, it is violently opposed. Third, it is accepted as being self-evident. Talent hits a target no one else can hit. Genius hits a target no one else can see. The doctor sees all the weakness of mankind, the lawyer all the wickedness, the theologian all the stupidity. Each day is a little life, every waking and rising a little birth, every fresh morning a little youth, every going to rest and sleep a little death. Satisfaction consists in freedom from pain, which is the positive element of life. The greatest of follies is to sacrifice health for any other kind of happiness. The more unintelligent a man is, the less mysterious existence seems to him. Great men are like eagles, and build their nest on some lofty solitude. The two enemies of human happiness are pain and boredom. I've never known any trouble than an hour's reading didn't assuage. The first 40 years of life give us the text. The next 30 supply the commentary on it. Nature shows that with the growth of intelligence comes increased capacity for pain, and it is only with the highest degree of intelligence that suffering reaches its supreme point. Sleep is the interest we have to pay on the capital which is called in at death. And the higher the rate of interest and the more regularly it is paid, the further the date of redemption is postponed. Opinion is like a pendulum and obeys the same law. If it goes past the center of gravity on one side, it must go a like distance on the other. And it is only after a certain time that it finds the true point at which it can remain at rest. Reading is equivalent to thinking with someone else's head instead of with one's own. A man's delight in looking forward to and hoping for some particular satisfaction is a part of the pleasure flowing out of it, enjoyed in advance. But this is afterward deducted, for the more we look forward to anything, the less we enjoy it when it comes. Every possession and every happiness is but lent by chance for an uncertain time, and may therefore be demanded back the next hour. It is only a man's own fundamental thoughts that have truth and life in them, for it is these that he really and completely understands. To read the thoughts of others is like taking the remains of someone else's meal, like putting on the discarded clothes of a stranger. In our monogamous part of the world, to marry means to have one's rights and double one's duties. Great minds are related to the brief span of time during which they live, as great buildings are to a little square in which they stand. You cannot see them in all their magnitude because you are standing too close to them. A man can be himself only so long as he is alone, and if he does not love solitude, he will not love freedom, for it is only when he is alone that he is really free. They tell us that suicide is the greatest piece of cowardice, that suicide is wrong, when it is quite obvious that there is nothing in the world to which every man has a more unassailable title than to his own life and person. Money is human happiness in the abstract. He then, who is no longer capable of enjoying human happiness in the concrete, devotes himself utterly to money. Wealth is like seawater. The more we drink, the thirstier we become. And the same is true of fame. Religion is the masterpiece of the art of animal training, for it trains people as to how they shall think. There is no doubt that life is given us, not to be enjoyed, but to be overcome, to be got over. With people of limited ability, modesty is merely honesty, but with those who possess great talent, it is hypocrisy. The discovery of truth is prevented more effectively, not by the false appearance things present and which mislead into error, not directly by weakness of the reasoning powers, but by preconceived opinion, by prejudice. Buying books would be a good thing if one could also buy the time to read them in. But as a rule, the purchase of books is mistaken for the appropriation of their contents. Willpower is to the mind like a strong blind man who carries on his shoulders a lame man who can see. Suffering by nature or chance never seems so painful as suffering inflicted on us by the arbitrary will of another. The wise have always said the same things, and fools, who are the majority, have always done just the opposite. A man's face as a rule says more, and more interesting things, than his mouth, for it is a compendium of everything his mouth will ever say, in that it is the monogram of all this man's thoughts and aspirations. Honor means that a man is not exceptional. Fame, that he is. Fame is something which must be won. Honor, only something which must not be lost. Boredom is just the reverse side of fascination. Both depend on being outside rather than inside a situation, and one leads to the other. As the biggest library, if it is in disorder, is not as useful as a small but well-arranged one. So you may accumulate a vast amount of knowledge, but it will be of far less value than a much smaller amount if you have not thought it over for yourself.